Good evening, everybody. It's time again for your Rowdies Talk Radio, the green and gold gospel.
Hey there, little Red Riding Hood, I got a problem and it's complicated. Going through changes and I just can't ignore the signs. They're there now and it's so loud it hurts. Hear me growl, hear me howl when the full moon is out. Hear me growl, you see me run, you see me jump. Try to fight, but I emerge with the prize in hand. You better watch out, it's gonna take more than what you got. Our lives are on the end, the silence is deafening. You're so helpless against this full moon. Don't ever say I didn't warn you, because I came to play, came to play, I came to play, came to play, I came to play, came to play, I came to play. Wow!
Good day, evening, morning, afternoon, any dusk, dawn, whatever time of day you decided to randomly listen to the show. We are the Unused Substitutes. My name is Dan. I am joined today by the ever effervescent Ben Wilcox. We went happy. The rest of the news around this club is not great after that game, so we're going happy. I'm being complimentary to you today, Ben. Take it.
I don't. I feel like 8 years says differently between you and me here, but I'll run with it. I'm waiting for the other side of that, you know. But
No.
okay, I'll take it. All right, I feel good. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Well, let's try to bring the mood up before we crash it in about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Speaking of crashes, we had to do a bunch of work at the Trop, and yeah, that's
How's that going? Is it going to be ready to host the World Series this year?
Yeah, you know, it's funny how both the teams I work for have just decided to do a dive off of the cliff here, and it's not like a smooth just like a fluke tog or like a Red Bull kind of dive competition. It's like a dive, but like off of a very, I don't know how to say, just a bad cliff you should be jumping off. It's bad. It's great. It's fine. Yeah, everything's great. I'm happy. Life is good. And I spent my weekend not watching soccer because why would I want to do that? And why would I want to, I watched Son play for LAFC this weekend. So that was great. That was cool. That was a fun moment. I love him. And I can say that now that he doesn't play in the Premier League anymore.
Yeah.
He really is just, he's such a fun player to watch. So I had that. And I did some online gaming. So that's good too. That was, and I'm here with you now. So, no complaints.
I went to the Gotham Washington Spirit game, which was at noon on Saturday, which worked because I got to watch the Rowdies, but we had to leave here at like 10, got to New Jersey at like 11:15 and got in. And that game started really good. And then there was just a controversial red card early in the game. And then, so my soccer day on Saturday was just absolutely awful. Like, I was like, okay, is it 0-0 draw, whatever, stupid red card. We should have been able to win that game. We were the better team. But then I was like, came home, sobered up, put on the Rowdies. Wish I didn't sober up.
Real quick, old man question. How's the weather this time of year for you? It should be good, right? I mean, that should have been nice.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. I mean, Red Bull or Sports Illustrated Stadium, whatever the hell it's named, it's, got that kind of open roof with the canopy. And like it was fine until pretty much second half, and then the sun peeked over the canopy, and I literally have it. My knees are darker than the rest of me, and like I have a farmer's tan. You can probably see that is just from being outside at the stadium.
That's impressive. Yes,
the 45 minutes, and I was like, damn. But this is a tangent before we dive into the BS. Never really going to soccer-specific stadiums like that. It rained, I think, 2 Gotham games ago we went to, and I was like, oh, well, we're going to get drenched. That canopy, unless the wind is blowing right at you, it covered, and because we're, like, our season tickets are the opposite end of the supporters, but right on the corner.
Okay.
and like 2 rows up. I mean, there's like the
So you really, I mean,
level.
we're right up on the field too.
Yeah, like we're right there. So like we're at the edge of the canopy, and we still were like don't really get wet in the rain. And I was like, great.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, the Rowdies blew it in North
Yeah.
Carolina. I don't why sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Like, back to old school, the good, bad, ugly, good. That Lewis Hilton goal was fantastic. I would love to see Lewis scoring. Bad, everything else, ugly this season. But like, I messaged you during the game because we looked for the when we were winning and up until like the penalty, I would even say we were the better team. We were possessing with purpose. Our attack looked sharper. Everything felt good, and then didn't anymore. Like we ended that half, but like there was so much good in that game. And I messaged you and I was like, if we win this game, we're going to the playoffs. Like you could feel it. And obviously we didn't win that game, but the standings are still so tight and such a cluster that possibility remains. I just want to rip that Band-Aid off. I just want it to be done. But anyway, before we get into that first half, there was good, there was bad, there was ugly, all in 45 minutes. I know I saw John Silva, avid listener, friend of the pod, giving it to you about the refs. So what did you say? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about the penalty on its own, but what did you see in that first half? What were your feelings, your thoughts, gripes?
Well,
bitches,
yeah, like when you messaged me, I was 100%, in agreement. I mean, it wasn't just that we were dominant. It was just the intent every time we had the ball, we looked dangerous. And we haven't felt that way in a few years. Like it just felt like at any moment we can move the ball down the field and put the ball in the back of the net, or at least put one on frame to put them on their heels and essentially own the mental portion of the game. And I agree, even with the bad play from Alvarez that it in turn gave Conway basically just a runaway goal, which I don't know where you'd mentioned it in the chat, like between us, but I don't know what way Bondra was diving either, but whatever. I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm not going to place. I mean, it is what it is. Like those moments happen. It seemed to always happen to us. But you're right. Even at that point, like I didn't feel like it was over because we were still pressing. We were still creating some great chances. I mean, that goal that Lewis got was incredible. And I went back and I watched the series. It was literally 5 whole passes from half field to the opposite corner to Lewis to score. 5 passes. It was beautiful. That sequence of play, 1-2 touch, like we've been talking about, the sequences of play where that 1-2 touch has been so good. It just showed in that moment how fluid it can be when we want to be and how free the team plays. And man, that goal was, I mean, even maybe the keeper gets it if it doesn't deflect it, but I'm not even totally convinced that he does. That shot was so clean. And to really not even take a few steps back. I mean, literally, all he did was open his hips with the touch and just put his boot through it. And that was a gorgeous shot.
My favorite thing about Lewis Hilton, there's a long list, but as a player is I don't know if there's somebody more technical. Everything about him like is exaggerated slightly. If you watch him pass, it feels like he's coaching youth of like showing them the proper technique. And like the way he just opened up his hips and let it rip, it was just perfect. He is one of the most technically gifted players on our roster and maybe even in the league, and I'm sure we could fight about that, but that shot, I wish he would shoot more. That is the other thing about Lewis Hilton. I just wish he would take those long range rips a little bit more often. He's got the talent, he's got the boot for it, and I wish he would do it. But yeah, it was a beautiful shot, and I wish he would do that more. And I think youth coaches could use him as a model for their technique.
Yeah, I mean, 100% agreed. I mean, look, his understanding of where players are on the field at all times is so, I mean, his IQ on that is so high. He always knows where the opposing players are, where we are, where to turn into space, where to cut back. It reminds me of a Sergio Busquets in the sense that he understands how to move the ball through the field. He knows how to move his body to be in the most effective place to where if he needs to lay the ball off quickly or take a few steps to drive it to the field, he's always in the right place. He's so smart. If you look at him, like, and I'm sure plenty of you guys, I'm sure you have, if you look at when he's on the field, like he's always turning his head to look at where people are. He's always aware of the layout of the field. And really, to your point, like any young coach, you want to show your young players that are trying to be midfielders or you're placing midfield to understand how to play the game. And somebody who's at our level, not maybe a Sergio Busquets, who is obviously, I think he's probably one of the best to play in that position. But a Lewis Hilton is a great example of somebody you can show right here in our own backyard who has got great vision, great understanding with the ball, and understanding where the flow of the game is going. And yeah, I'm with you too. Although I wonder with the shooting thing. I mean, you and I both know Neil did not like those shots. He didn't like the midfield taking shots from outside the box, which has driven me nuts since the beginning of time. You even longer, because I know you've Matt talked about it as well before I even joined. It's one of the things that I just don't understand, and something we have tapped on definitely early in the season. I know Matt, I talked about it last year as well, but it's like when you take shots from outside the box, anything can happen. I mean, look at the Ollie Bassett goal from I think the first third of the season when he got one of those, and it's just like, why not take the chance, especially if things aren't going your way? And when things are going your way, I mean, take shots. I mean, the worst thing that can happen right now is you miss. Well, guess what? We're already bottom of the league for conversion. I mean, and I was looking up today, I think we're like bottom 5 for conversion rate. I mean, at this point, you got to use what's working. And if you've got a good section to go up in front of you, take the shot. And that's true for Alvarez, for Lewis. I mean, a number of these guys.
Yeah, just not Arteaga. Just not Arteaga. Just don't.
I know.
Unduly harsh, but he has not been able to hit the broadside of a barn this season. Yeah. I don't know. He was a reliable goal scorer. Like, may not have been pretty, may not have been like, he might have been a poacher, but he's just, I don't know what's happened. I don't mean to it's not personal. That haunted us in this game to continue to keep it on point of we continued to press in the second half. We continued to create chances. We continued to do the things you want to see when you're down 2-1 and kind of fighting for your season. But we cannot put the ball in the net. Like,
we also can't get out of our own way.
Well, yeah, that's individual errors. Steve Coleman harped on it. I'm sure Casiato will when he's fed up in another week or two.
He's talked about it in postgame. And if you look at the notes, I know you get them too. I mean, he talks about it. He's like, those goals, especially a second goal right there at halftime, is just, it just completely changes the mentality. If you go in at halftime, and this is going to be my rant time coming up here, but when you let that second goal happen, especially before halftime, it does. The mentality that North Carolina goes into the locker room with versus what we go into the locker room with is completely different if it's 1-1 and we own that first half. Because you and I talked about it, over text. It's like that second half, man, it's just like, it wasn't as awful as I initially felt it was, but it was still bad. We still didn't dominate the way we did in the first half. We looked lost for a good portion of that second half. But rant time, John. And you and I had talked about this. That referee was awful. Now, I concede that I would rather have this referee, but for this singular purpose, he was allowing the ball or allowing the game to play and not stop the whistle for every single time you looked at the opposing player. Because the guy last week was just, I never wanted to throw. No, that's not true. I've almost gotten banned from Pro Referee's website, but I have said some awful things. And that guy last week very much reminded me of all the things that I don't like. I mean, when a referee inserts himself in a game, that's probably the thing I hate the most. And this referee this week didn't do that. But man, when you let the ball, when you don't call the foul, I'm really trying. This is like the paragraph that I deleted off the comment section. When you let the teams play and you don't call the dives, you can't call the one in the box, because now you set a precedent of what is a dive. You got to be consistent. If you're not going to call, if it's not a foul out of the box, it's not a foul in the box. I mean, you have to be consistent, because if I'm a defender and I'm defending a guy, now I'm afraid to go anywhere near a guy in my box, but on the field, it's fair play. Like, what are we supposed to do here? Now, the second part of this is on us. How the hell do you let 3 guys get wide open on the back post on a free kick? Our set piece play is so bad right now. I mean, we should never even been in that situation. Should even needed to even try to defend that. But there's nobody on the back post to stop them from crossing the ball back into the danger area. That in turn creates the penalty. dive or not, bad call or not, we should never even been in that situation. And I just, and it wasn't just this play. There was multiple times that it happened in this game, and it's happened in previous games that we look completely lost on free kicks. But I digress.
I want to say, like, despite looking more comfortable in possession, more comfortable going forward, more dangerous going forward, we still have not figured out defense, which is unreal considering where this team was 2-3 years ago defensively. The call was a bit of a joke to me, since like Conway like threw himself into the leg of whoever was trying to clear the ball, and like, but whatever, like you said, we shouldn't have been in that position if we would have covered it right. And I'm not going to blame the refs' inconsistencies, because we're a second division soccer club. We're going to get second division or sometimes third division level refs. Like, we're not getting the best. And, that's par for the course. I will say, I think after that penalty is the first time since Robbie has left that this club really like gave up, or it felt like they gave up, or like they were frustrated and were just like, it felt almost like the straw that kind of broke. And like, I don't blame them, because like every game this season, except against Miami, and which not the Jaeger Miami, regular season Miami and right. Indy, it's been a climb. Everything's been clawing back and fighting back. And that's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. And so like, I can imagine just the, like, here we go again on the road, and like just that. But the problem is, you can also, like, you don't, as a fan, I don't have confidence in that situation because we don't have goal scorers. And like, you and I talked about it, and John's talked about it, like, we've all talked about it as a community here. Why is Woobens the one that comes off when you need a goal, when he's the only one scoring your goals? Maybe he doesn't have 90, or maybe it's a muscle concern. I don't have the answer there. I'm not inside. But like, all of the managers have done it. Like, it's not a Dom thing. It wasn't a Steve Coleman thing, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, he's the one scoring your goals. Why do we take him off in those situations when you're not getting goals anywhere else? Like, and the new boy, I already, why is his name already blanked out of my head?
That's Sharp.
Yeah, that's why the easiest name in the book. Missing a sitter, like, that could have drawn us. Like, I don't blame him, nerves coming in on the road, like just trying to settle in. I don't blame him as a person, as a player. Those things happen. But it was just like, this team is just cursed in front of goal right now. And like, it just doesn't, going down the way we did doesn't inspire confidence going forward. And like, I think, as we mentioned earlier, that if we would have won that game, I think we would have made a good run in the at the playoffs. North Carolina is the measuring stick, because they're not Louisville, they're not upper crust of USL. They're like mediocre, but they're like fourth place or third place in the
Third
East
place now.
Yeah, so like they were a good measuring stick, because like they were only like 6 points or something ahead of us, or something. Not insane.
Correct.
Well, I think it was like 7 points or something like that. But now they're more. But they were the yardstick of how much of this comeback is real and how much of it was a mirage, in my opinion. And I really I don't want to get down on it. Like, I was really, really enjoying that hope that was leading up to that game. But it really feels like that was the measuring stick, and we don't measure up at all to where anybody realistically is in this Eastern Conference, at least.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like, even with as bad as we play, like, it's like we are creating opportunities. I mean, and like you said, I mean, not to beat up on Manu, because like, I still personally, I love Manu. He's a great guy. And I mean, he had some great distribution in this game in the second half that almost created a couple opportunities, and that's great, but that's not what he's here for. It's like, it's not his role. And I get that they're trying to find a way to utilize him in his distribution and his goal scoring. I say that loosely, because it doesn't exist this season. But I mean, like, he came in and distribution was great. But I agree. It's like, you look at the substitution made. Van Kizeel out, Bassett in 57th.
I like that
Alvarez
one.
out, Sharp in 57th. Not 100, wasn't totally sure, but I'm like, all right, willing to give it a try. And then you pull Passius out and put Arteaga on in the 57th. So you make 3 subs that were, it was obvious we were trying to become more attack minded, but you're right. We take off Lupins, who I know just about 4 weeks ago, I was like, well, trying to teach him a lesson. But look, John, you said it. I'll agree with it. Like, at this point, I don't care what lesson you're trying to teach him. If that's what's going on, he needs to be on the field. And if we're going to give Sharp the best chance to have success with our best striker, someone he can play off of, that's Wubens. That's Wubens Passies. That's the guy, not Arteaga. And I don't understand what's happening there. And look, we're not at training. We're not behind the scenes. We don't know what's happening. You're right. Could be injury. Could be any number of things. But from an outsider's perspective, what are we left to think? My best striker is coming off and you're putting on the guy who cannot score a goal. We even brought in another player to, in essence, replace the guy that's not producing. And you put him on with the guy that's not producing. I don't understand the mindset there, whether there's good intention or not. And it doesn't change the fact from an outsider's perspective, who all we want is we just want a couple results, something on to. I mean, for Christ's sake, Hartford's up in like 7th place right now. I mean, just by winning 2 games since playing us. They're in 7th place. That could be us. There's no reason we couldn't be in that exact same role. But I don't understand some of these moves and some of these decisions we're making. I mean, yeah, Sharp could have had that one. I think it was like the 59th or 69th minute where it was just unlucky. And a guy that's played maybe 2 practices with this team, I'm not going to beat up on this kid. And he is a kid. Let's remember that. He's a kid who just stepped in, maybe out of practice and have 2 practices. It's going to take time. I mean, and look, we did create some opportunities in the second half, but we were toothless for a large portion of that second half. And to go from a first half where we were so obviously dominant, even giving up 2 goals, we were dominant, and then just come out feckless of this. It's frustrating because you're right. We want to see more. We want to believe that we're either we're statistically out of the playoffs or we're not. And that's kind of where we're at. It's where a lot of the fans are. I mean, look at the comments. I mean, we all feel the same way. We just want answers. And it's frustrating because nobody seems to have an answer. And for every good thing we do, it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And it's incredibly frustrating at this point.
How, random question going off
Please.
after something you said, how obviously Arteaga's goal production has fallen into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
But like you said, his distribution's there, especially with Leo hurt. Should we try to use him as a 10? Like, because he's talented, his vision's there, his experience might be worth something. Keep Wubens and maybe Sharp ahead of him, put Bassett or Alvarez to work off of him and Crisostomo behind him, or with Hilton. I don't know. I don't have the right combination, but like, would you try that? Would you try like moving him? He's older. His legs aren't the same. It's no different than like, any other aging striker that might have some ability left and his distribution's there and his hold-up play is still there. Why not try just making him a 10 instead of a 9?
I'd be okay with a 10, but the problem is for the workload that we expect from our 10 and their ability to kind of shift back and forth and pace. I wouldn't say pace, but their ability to kind of shift left to right to kind of offset which something we did do better this half is we weren't playing the counter press. We were backing off to just above the half field line. Our midfielder helps shift with the ball. And one of the things Arteaga has shown this year, and again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. His movement just isn't there. I mean, I made the comment kind of joking between us, but at the same time, not. I mean, he looks like he's laboring almost immediately. I mean, it reminds me of Carlos Valderrama towards the end, right? Who was brilliant with the ball at his feet. Don't ever ask him to run. Don't ask him to go for a header. Don't ask him to tackle. If he does any of those, it's because he's pissed off and he's probably about to get a red. And that kind of reminds me of an Arteaga in the sense where he could play a 10, but you'd have to have so much pace to cover around him. I don't know if we have the personnel to kind of offset that at this point, unless you left him up at like almost even a false 9 and stacked around him that way. Maybe you could get around it that way, but but then you kind of lose the distribution aspect. And I mean, to Whoopin's credit, I mean, I was really happy. This is another game in a row where we've seen him do well with a player on his back. He's able to hold up the ball and move the ball back. I mean, the goal, great example, right?
Yeah.
It comes in one touch. He drops it in, plays it off to Skinner, who played the cross. And I mean, that was, I gotta say, I didn't know Passes had that in his pocket, in his wheelhouse, and it's something he has definitely done better at. And yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I just don't think a 10 is where we would find him effective.
I was just wondering. I thought it was an idea I throw out. I will say, you mentioned Skinner. He's been on a tear before this. I do think we missed Blake Bodley on the left, and having the option of moving Skinner up more as a sub. Blake was sick, whatever, and I don't know, man. This team, if this is how we were playing 15 games ago or 10 games ago, I would be like, yeah, playoffs, we're in. I'm not even worried. But we're in the second half of the season. Things are not looking great, but I still want to believe. Like, maybe it's because I'm a Mets fan and an Islanders fan and like a Rays fan, and like I'm just used to sports sadness and like never giving up hope until we're mathematically eliminated. But like,
that's a fair statement, Dan. I mean, from 7th down, you're talking Hartford 22 points, Rhode Island 21 points, India, Miami 20 points, Birmingham 19 points, Tampa Bay 17 points. But most of the teams have played 20 games. We've only played 18.
Right. Like, we have games in hand, and we're like a win away from being right in the thick of it. And it's just like, I need you guys to either just suck really bad or figure this out and make a run. Like this. I feel like it's one of those like high school on again, off again relationships where like, but it's not the right time. Oh, but maybe it is. And no, just kick me in the dick and get it over with.
Yeah. I mean, you're right though. I mean, it's like, cause I hate being dragged along here because it's like, you show me what you can be, but you keep showing me who you are. And who am I supposed to believe? Are you trying to be this, or is this who you truly are?
And like, I don't want to say it like, I think Dom's vision for like Cassiato's vision for the end of the season and going into next season, I have all of the faith in the world that he will build a world-class club again and regain, and we will regain that Rowdies identity. And as long as the new owners support him and like the soccer people do soccer things and get him the players that he wants, which from what it sounds like they have done already. I mean, you have Alvarez, you have Sharp, who he said he wanted. Like, there are players that have come in that he can build around that he wants. So I am all for, like, the offseason optimism is creeping up, even as this season's pessimism is creeping up. Like, it's a balance here. Yeah, I mean, beating North Carolina, first of all, I need to just let everybody know that I hate North Carolina. Back when they were the Railhawks and Brian Shriver and Enzo Martinez and like all of that crap. I
forgot about Enzo.
Yeah, he used to be there before he went to even worse Birmingham. Like, I hate that club with a burning passion. They can rebrand, they can get new owner, whatever. They're still the Railhawks, and I hate them. So like, this just hurt. Like, it's one of those personal rivalry games that I just hate. Like, they used to be that way with San Antonio when Alan Marcino was there. I'm glad he got fired at a baggage claim. I wish it would have happened twice. But
that's a great point.
I miss the NASL for those moments. Like, do you remember when somebody got traded for a hotel room?
It rings a bell. Yes.
Yeah, like,
this is the problem. You could make that up about the NASL era, and it would be one of those. It's possible.
No, it happened. I think it was Walter Restrepo, if I recall, got traded for a hotel room.
Wow.
It was.
And the problem is, again, I don't know. I mean, it's possible. NASL was wild.
Let's see. It's not like I don't have a computer in front of me.
Well, while you're doing that, let me
go off on a tangent.
Let me mention something. Well, I don't really have a tangent. I wanted to ask you something while you're so I'm going to do double duty here. But would you not agree that since Cassiato's come in, that offensively you have seen an improvement? Like,
yes.
The danger moments have been far more dangerous and more plentiful.
Yes.
Since Cassiato got here, given who he has to work with.
In the weeks he's had, we've gotten better and better. Like, the club the offense has gotten better. Things are starting to gel. But it feels like a worse version of Steve Coleman's Rowdies, where like the consistency isn't there. Like we're still not putting together a full 90, but like we're getting there. I'm more optimistic about it all than I was like in the early days. But yeah, we are definitely getting better. Yep. January 8th, 2014, Lauderdale striker of the NASL, for Lauderdale Strikers of the NASL, traded Walter Restrepo to this.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yep, for a hotel room.
Of course it was the Strikers. Wow. Just
I missed those days.
I lost Dan. Well, Dan popped out. Well, hopefully he'll pop back in. Gosh, Lee, for those that don't remember, I'm sure plenty of you guys do, but the NASL was just, it was a free for all. It was absolutely wild. And it's what I loved about it. I mean, because it was just anything was possible. But kind of what I was getting with Dan was like, one of the things that I will say that I've enjoyed under Casiato is that we are seeing more structure offensively, something we didn't necessarily see, under Steve Coleman, but something we've definitely seen improve under Casiato. And I'm really happy to see that he is growing that, because I think the faults that we find with the team, I think the faults that are happening with the team are more dealing with the core issue of what's plagued this team all season long, and less about what has Steve Coleman and Dominic Casiato done to improve the team. I think we're seeing their improvements, but where we lack as a team right now, what was left to us before Steve Coleman took over has plagued us all through the season. And unfortunately, that's just something that I don't know that we're going to escape this season. I think even if we go on a tear, these are issues that are going to continue to plague us, because I think they're just part of what this team is. And that's okay to say, because, I mean, look, that's not hating on anyone that's in charge. It's not hating on anyone at the top. Sometimes you have a team that has just a bad flaw, and there's no real way to fix it other than an overhaul. And I think I can confidently say at this point that coming into as we edge closer to the end of the season, I think we're going to see quite a transition, because I do believe, like Dan said, I do believe Casiato is a great hire. I still think he is the right guy for the job. I absolutely believe that with support, which it does appear the team is giving, but it will be interesting once the sale and everything is final, kind of how all that falls together, because there's still some question marks. But assuming that everything stays consistent, I definitely feel like Casiato will get us back on the right path. I think he's done good in a very short period of time. And I like what he says. I mean, obviously, look, at some point, there's only so much he can say, given in 4 or 5 weeks with a team that's struggling, when you're coming from being the champion in the lower division to struggling to find consistency. It can be tough. And there's really only so many cliche things you can have, which he's hit on all of them. I at least see the production on the field in areas where we brought him in with this purpose. We're seeing the fruits of that already. At this point, I think it's just a lack of the players he needs to fully put his system together. And look, we could still find our way into the playoffs. It's not mathematically impossible. We're not out. I was F this, F that. I mean, our show notes, the first paragraph is nothing but the F word exclamation point for like 5, 10, 15, rows. I was so mad, but it's like, it is what it is at this point. I still want to make the playoffs, even though we won't get a home game. There's no way we're getting in top 4 at this point. If we had shown any run of 2-3 games of wins in a row or anything like that, where we had the ability to put on to stack wins together, then maybe I would say, maybe we could stumble our way into that. But at this point, I would think we're begging for that 5 to 8. But even at this point, I don't know if we get there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This game was it was everything. It just embodied everything that this season is, right? It had the highs of that beautiful sequence of play that got Lewis's goal, and then it had the lows of not just a bad referee call, regardless of whether or not we should have even allowed it, and us just basically gifting the other team a goal when we work our asses off to produce something beautiful, and then just, here you go, on a platter, to the one player on their team you don't want to give it to. So, this team was all the emotions.
This is a hard, impersonal hot take.
Okay.
We have a lot of guys that are older, that have been here for a long time. Do you think we need to flip it? Like, you build around like Alvarez and like Bassett, but like I know you don't want to get rid of. There might be, I don't know, you can pick them because you don't really want to lose a Lewis Hilton. You don't want to lose a Leo Fernandez. You don't really want to lose an Aaron Guillen. But like how,
Yes.
like sentimentally and talent wise, like you want to keep one or two of them maybe for leadership and, you know, continuity. But like, or do you just want to be like, okay, like, because my thought, let me peel back a curtain a little bit, is like,
Expand.
you know, like I personally, and I could be completely off base, I'm not there all the time, but it feels like Forrest Lasso is going to retire. You know, he's got side projects, he's on side quests now. I think that's what I'm getting at, is like a lot of these guys know that they're kind of at the in the twilight or end of their career, so their brain is elsewhere. Maybe the mental aspect and like even the training aspect isn't fully committed. Is it time to be like, have that frank conversation with them of like, hey, we're done. Like, thank you for your service for this club. Like, you were a legend, 100 club. You know, I would even like build a Leo statue out front. Aaron Guillen deserves all the plaudits Lewis Hilton. Like, should we move on from all of them? One or two, like keep one or two. I mean, how, like, you know, I love Leo for everything, but like he hasn't been able to put a whole, like, even half a season together recently, like, you know, and that kills me because he's the heart and soul of this team. He's been there longer than, you know, a lot of the employees, you know. Like he feels almost an OG, even though like he's, you know, but like, so it's one of those things of, where does moving forward and then the emotional, sentimental fan part come in? Because like, I don't ever want to lose those guys, but also is that entire, what we call, I guess, a core holding us back right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for the $1 million question this season, right? It's like, I agree. I mean, this team is aging out a bit. It's funny we say that because I think like the average age was like 29 of this team, which is not old, but not young. But I mean, it's like 29, but I mean, yeah, I mean, and look, and I love Forrest. I've talked with him through other things on the side. I think he's just, and I'll tap on some later with him. But I mean, like he really was. He was the anchor of our defense. He was the absolute catalyst to everything that we did defensively. He just was so important. And yeah, I mean, it's been unfortunate to see things go down. But part of moving on is you can't completely remove the emotional side. I think that would be wrong. That'd be like the Lightning getting rid of Steve Stamkos. I think that it's kind of that thing, but at the same time, you do have to remove some of the emotion, because ultimately, you know, this Rowdies engine that is going to continue to live on beyond all of us, hopefully. You know, do we want it to be successful and keep growing, or do we just want to keep holding on to legacy? And that's really a tough balance. I mean, what all goes into it, right? I mean, productivity. How are they at training? How are they in the locker room? What do their contracts look like? I mean, can we find a better solution at half the age, a better salary? That's always a question mark. I mean, if I can find someone who's just as good at half the salary, that's a business decision.
That's very raised of you, my friend. Very raised.
They've rubbed off on me, but I'm not saying get rid of all of them. Like, I mean, personally, I mean, who's leading the league in minutes and matches played right now on our team? Aaron Guillen. I wouldn't say he's had the greatest season, but he is just so damn consistent. And you know what you're going to get from Aaron Guillen. And I think that's a guy where I think it's a no-brainer. I think you keep him, you know, on your defense. I think he is a leader in that locker room. I think he's been absolutely fantastic as a whole. And that's not just looking at him over past seasons as well. I mean, I think what he brings to the team is invaluable. I do think the weight of being captain, I think, does weigh on him sometimes. I think before he was given that armband, I do think he was a different player. But hey, we're not out there. It's been consistently his. I'm not going to judge on that. Same thing with the Lewis Hilton. I mean, look, he had some knocks as well last couple of years. It's been a rough bit of a go, but you look at him now. I mean, he's one of the best players on the field yet again. He's producing all over the field. Like we said, I mean, he's so damn invaluable. It doesn't matter what system you throw him, he thrives. And up top, I mean, it's just like, look, I don't think any of us have to question the striker position. I think we all know we have to get better. And whether we like Manu or not, I love you, Manu, but I mean, you may have another season in you. It's just not
Yeah,
going to
no.
be here with us. We thank you for everything you've done in your time here. It's time to move on. And that's going to be the conversation for a lot of players. I would like us to get a little longer. I do feel like we lack pace all over the field. It's been one of my biggest complaints. We have no ability to stop counterattack soccer defensively. I really feel like our right back position is something we have got to desperately figure out. And if that means moving on, go ahead.
Nyanga Berry getting hurt really screwed us, and like that was, to me, that was like one of our biggest needs we should have filled. I mean, we've signed multiple strikers and still haven't addressed that, so maybe he's close to being back. I don't know. I'm not anywhere. If not, I mean, I don't know.
But I would say that Moon has done well when he has played. I do like Nick Moon. I think he has managed to stay healthy, which, I mean, at this point, that's kind of the win, isn't it?
Yeah.
But him staying healthy and playing consistently well, it has made us not be so heavily dependent upon Bodily, who, whether he's sick or just needs a freaking night off, give that kid a freaking night off. Put him on ice, let that kid chill. Because, I mean, we have relied on him all season long. He has been our go-to for damn near 2 seasons, really.
I would like to keep Blake definitely going. He's him, Bassett, Alvarez, Hilton. I think Hilton's a shoo-in because the first half of the season without him, we were aimless. We were listless. And he just brings something. And like Aaron, I think you're right, is an emotional, but there's just so many hard choices up and down that, like, I don't know. But I'm also I obviously adore Lewis and Aaron as human beings, so that's hard.
Same. Well, and to be fair, it's early on. I would say early on. It's way too far out to start having this discussion. I mean, I think we like who we like, and we understand who is, I don't want to say expendable because that cheapens their worth to the team, but I think their roles where I think there's more talent out there. I mean, because you look at a good veteran signing like Azokar, who I think has been, as a substitute, he has come on, he has been good. I think he's had some very good moments. I think he's a guy that can be, as he grows from week to week, like he got better from last week to this week. He had more meaningful minutes. He had more meaningful play. There is a place for a veteran on this team and for veteran leadership of just, not just a league, but just an older established player, right? It just feels like the guys that are currently in those roles are not giving us back what we need from guys in those roles. And that's not a personal knock, whether it be injury or just time. We're just not getting the return that we need from the guys in those roles. And when that happens, it outweighs your worth to the team. And that's a harsh way to put it, but it is what it is. And if we are to continue to grow and move on, we have to be looking in those roles. I don't know that Moon is the solution on that right side. I think you're right. I think Wazi's the guy to go to there, but he has done well in service.
Yeah, I think I would prefer having Nick Moon centrally, like as a sub or like, coming in and like where there can be overlap with Wazi and not just Nick Moon holding it down. I think Nick Moon brings a lot to the table, talent-wise and leadership-wise, but I think Wazi and Moon together would be the better option.
Yes. Well, they showed us that.
Exactly. Right before everything went to crap. It is, it is way too early, but it's a thought because it is the same thing happening. But, and it's not a knock on any of the guys who are like, we can cut ties. I think at times players and need greener pastures or a change of scenery. We've all worked at the same place for years and hated it or not hated it. It just becomes so routine that you're not fully engaged anymore. And sometimes it happens and you would think, and just the stress of the last year. And there might be, all of the things that happened to them as players, professionals and people.
Yeah.
It might be time to be like, I need to get the hell out of here, deuces. And then they can go thrive elsewhere and whatever. I wish there's nobody on this club that I'm like, yeah, get rid of them. I don't like them at all. I don't wish them the best. Well, that's not, no, I'm just kidding. So it's just I don't know. There's a solution here that I'm not sure what it is. And that's just one of the things. It also from the outside feels like this unit, this club, this group of players isn't as close as years past. There were
Right.
I think the 2021 group was just one giant party, and not in like a drunk they all enjoyed each other and they were having fun, and like they played off of one another so well, personality wise, bonding wise, and it just doesn't feel like that. It didn't feel like it was there last year, and it definitely doesn't feel like it's there this year. And like, that's part of the coach's job. And I think Robbie built an 11 and not a team, or an 18 and not a team. And I think like,
Sure.
and granted, a lot of these guys have played together previous. But also that allows animosity, and personal relationships are complicated. You've been here a while, other little grievances check in, like, everybody's settled into routine, and sometimes you don't click anymore. It's why, you need to shake it up. There's 100 million variables probably into why this season is going off the way it is. And I'm just, I was going to say paid to talk about this and throw this stuff out there, but we're not paid at all. So, we're just killing time and, just seeing what sticks, what happens.
I mean, okay, so you look at let's break it into 3 phases, right? Because I like to keep the goalkeepers off on their own island because that's where they belong. Defensively, defense, midfield, attacking. I mean, obviously we all agree we need attacking, but I mean, if you've got an opportunity to bring in 3 players, where do you think our biggest holes are as a team right now?
Striker, right back, and probably a defensive midfielder. I think, like, to shore up the back line, but not exactly the back line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right there with you, and it's like, now, do you want to go more for veteran style players, or do you go for young, talent, spirited players? Because I think we've got, I think we have the veterans. I think we need to continue forward. Are we wanting more youth? Are we lacking pace? Like, to you, like, what are you thinking?
I mean,
kind of goes with it?
I would take pace up top and on the right. I think as a defensive mid, I would take a veteran. I want somebody, with vision, experience, and calm. You know who I miss? Everybody's gonna say Jordan Doherty. Yes, obviously, that's who I would love to have. But even like a Dominic Aduro, when he was there in that role, was solid. Like, I want that person. I would take a Jordan, a Dom, like, give me somebody in that mold and put him back there.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think for me, and John Silva and I kind of went back and forth on this a little bit, and we talked about this when we were at our best defensively. We had 2 not just speedy defenders on the wings, but they had great that's not the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Gosh, I was never going to get there either. So they had great recovery. So, and then you had, Forrest Lasso standing tall in the middle, who was just an absolute brick wall. And that's something we kind of lack right now. For me, I feel like one of our biggest weaknesses, obviously striker. I want to give Sharp a chance before I go off, because I want to give him a fair chance in the role, hopefully with with Passius. But we need somebody. We need we need a faster, more athletic right back. I mean, look at the way like Jordan Scarlett in his prime. Now, granted, Jordan Scarlett was always good for one guaranteed boneheaded play. Every game, always one boneheaded play. He always did it. Didn't always cost us, but it was one every game, like in that final. But man, oh man, I mean, but he was super fast, super strong. He could line up against any striker in the league. I mean, Cal would have absolutely hated life going against those 3 back in the day, because their recovery was fantastic. Their understanding of the threes movement was wonderful, and they didn't give you an inch. And I think that's something that we miss right now.
I was also going to say, like, for that spot, that like right center back, whatever, in the 3, I would want a Jordan Scarlett, because like, you had Forrest, like you said, who is like the lumberjack at the back, slow, but like would dominate in the air there. You had Aaron, who was like the middle of the 3, like he was the balance. He had the recovery speed, but he also had the intelligence and the strength and everything. And then Jordan was, my favorite thing about Jordan Scarlett is every time it would go over Forrest, or like they would play the through ball beyond Forrest, and you're like, well, here's a goal. Jordan came out of nowhere, slid across and cleared it. And if somehow he was way out of position, Aaron did it. But it was like, you're right, they worked, the chemistry there and the talent was so good. And Jordan's I think he's the captain and the anchor center back in Hartford. And this year's not so great, but he's still thriving, doing his thing, obviously better than we are. So yeah, that's like the mold I want. And I agree with that assessment completely. And I think my issue with our striker situation is we had JJ Williams. We got rid of him and he's thriving. We had Cal Jennings, and that's a little bit more complicated. His contract ran out, was looking for a Europe or an MLS move, didn't pan out. But we didn't say, if that doesn't work, immediately come back to us and we will get you on this payroll. We failed in that aspect, but I don't want to put all of the weight onto the Rowdies for that. That was Cal wanting to test the waters, and then we lost out in the end. But we had some of the best scoring talent in the USL. And I mean, Seba Guenzati was a free agent and didn't sign late to Detroit. There was quality available. Not saying we don't have, Wubens has been great, but if I recall, he's still alone. He's not a signing. He's not here at the end of the year or next year.
That's a really good question. I don't know.
I think he's alone, because that was the worry early on when he was the only one scoring, that they would yank him and we'd be relying on Arteaga. And so it's just we gave up some of the premier scoring talent in the recent years in this league, and we're having zero production outside of a loanee, and if he's not a loanee, and you can scratch that from the record, the thing is we still only have one striker that's barely producing. Well, he's got 7 goals in the season, which is a decent number. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing to shake his.
Oh, season leading is only 11, so he's not that far behind.
But we're not. There's no scoring anywhere else is our problem. Right? And it is very obvious if I'm a defender playing the Tampa Bay Rowdies or a midfielder, if you just close up on Passius, they're not scoring. We're good.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating to see where we were even 2 seasons ago, talent-wise or goal-wise. Or I don't want to say talent, because I don't feel like I'm not trying to insult anybody that's playing, but where we were and in this league to where we are now, and the talent that has come and gone, and the goals that have come and gone, and the playmaking, it's frustrating. And whatever.
Because the returns on the losses of those players is not
right. We haven't.
It would be one thing, and again, to use a Rays analogy, we trade away guys that we love, but I don't, as maddening as it is as a Rays fan, our return on trades is always in the positive, always in net positive, and it hasn't been. And I don't know where that fault lies. I don't know if there is any fault to even lie out. I mean, it hasn't panned. You're absolutely right. We have allowed what has turned out to be continued to be elite striking, or at least top tier striking, and we have not gotten, I think, the return for the players we've gotten. And it's frustrating because that's a very fresh feeling. Still.
I mean, especially we had JJ Williams and Cal Jennings. We had them both together, and they tore it up. And then we were like, okay, JJ, we're gonna trade you away. Cal, and it's just the fact that we could have still had them, and or at least one of them maybe, and tried. It's just there has been no return on investment. It's been, some of the moves. Great. Where's Charlie Dennis? I haven't heard, maybe he, that one, I was devastated. He was, I haven't really heard of him much lately. He's not lighting the league up like we thought he would. So maybe that was a good one.
Yep.
But
no, same thing like Kava. He had his moment and then kind of flashed in a pan. And
yeah. So some of these moves, great. You got it right. But the losing those 2 and not replacing those goals, that was my fear in this offseason when I would see some of the moves. I'm we're not bringing in goals. I don't know where these goals are going to come from. And sure enough, we didn't replace them, because the Rays way was always, you can lose. I think it's easier in baseball, if we're going to break it down, because if you trade somebody that's, worth 15 or like 30 runs or 100 runs or whatever RBIs this season, you can piecemeal that over the field and get it back. It's hard to replace goals in soccer, especially because but you can try, and I don't feel like we did this offseason.
And to your point, I mean, like the analytics are so broken down in baseball because I think externally there isn't as many factors that play into those analytics as it does like in soccer. It's you can't just trade a like for like because there's no guarantee. Because I mean, we could go right now and pull the second best striker in the league into our team, and that doesn't mean he's going to be the second best striker playing on our team.
Right.
Because there's so many other things to go into that. Something I was thinking about as you were talking about it, because you talked about the loss of a Jordan Doherty type player. It really does feel like the magnitude of that loss and kind of what he meant and his ability to play on this team, whether it be at the right back or defensive center mid, we really have lost it. And that's not a knock to Crisostomo or Van Kizil when he's playing that role, but they're not a Jordan Doherty. And I think that's another area where losing him definitely hurt, because again, we thought we had the player in place to replace him, and it's obvious that we didn't quite have that. We could have maybe made it in a few players, but we didn't have a like for like fix in that role.
Let me talk about our Lord and Savior Jordan Doherty. Okay, we need to also remember he was young. He got here at 19. So he kind of came of age and like into his prime in USL with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But there was stuff even when he was 19 and got here, you could see his vision was different. His positioning was different. He was always open to receive a ball. He was always in position to intercept a ball. His vision, his brain, everything was at a higher level than a lot of the players in this league, especially in that position. And I think it was a mistake moving him to right back. He succeeded. He was great, but we lost a hell of a lot of we lost a lot of his ability and what he brings to the table. I do think he also grew into a leader with this squad. I think so yeah, like losing him seems to be more catastrophic than we thought to the midfield, because like Lewis Hilton can't carry it all. And that's not Crisostomo, I do like him. I think he's also good for one bonehead tackle a game, which is, I do appreciate that about him.
Yeah, it feels like when we fall apart together as all at once. It's never just one guy falling down and everyone else picks him back up like it has been in years past. It's amazing how this team can literally, there's always 4 or 5 players that just fold in on themselves at the same time, and it's just like boom, and it always turns into a goal. It always turns into an opportunity, and whether it's by sheer luck, we either stop it or they miss the goal. On many of those occasions, they often find the back of the net too. And it's not a recipe for
no,
success.
and it has been one of the unluckiest seasons I've ever watched. Like there's been games where we, it felt 50-50, and then whoever we're playing just smashes a worldly, like top bin at a note from like the, center field. You're like, come on, like in any other 9 out of 10 times that doesn't even hit the target, and this dude who won a raffle just scored, and it's like there's certain things like you just have to throw your hands up in. It's just been one of those years. It's a transition year. Maybe we make the playoffs. I hope we do. We keep that streak alive or whatever, and keep it going. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
But this is the time to do it. I mean, look, we're home this weekend, and look, I get it to all you that are listening or that might catch the clips of these or whatever. Like, I get how frustrating this year is, but we're finally home. After 6 games, we are finally home this weekend. I really hope that you guys can show up and show out this weekend. Phoenix is not going to be an easy win. None of them are going to be easy wins for this team. I don't think there is such thing
except
as an easy
Indy.
win, apparently. But this is going to be a home game, and I think we have a chance. I mean, other than I think our next hardest game is going to be Detroit City in the following week.
We have Sacramento on the schedule. Neil Collins coming home.
Lord. I mean, I look at the schedule though, and I mean, none of these teams that we're about to play really. We got to play North Carolina again, but we get to play them at home. Really, none of these teams are on a hot streak or unbeatable. I mean, these are all games that we can very much cause some damage if we could just put a little bit together. And I know we say that every week, and we try to build hope, but it's true. Like, even if we could fumble our way through a couple of wins, because you need a little luck along the way, and I get that we haven't had anything like that, it is still statistically possible with, 13 games remaining? I mean, look, I think it's possible, and I'm not going to give up yet. I'm not gonna pack it in yet until it's mathematically done for us, which I feel like the rest of the season is going to go just like this, because I think the bottom 4 or 5 teams are going to just consistently suck their way in.
Yeah, it's almost like
to the final.
I don't even know. Like, do I want to just make the playoffs? Because then we could say we made the playoffs for X consecutive years. But like, I don't know. At this point, like, call it. Like, just stop the count.
But anything can happen in the playoffs. Do you remember how awful Orange County was going into
I don't
the playoffs?
want to talk about that, okay? That was a painful experience.
It was awful. I had to sit in the locker room after that game. I get it, but I'm just like, if you can just get to the dance. I mean, who knows? Maybe this team wakes the hell up. They're like, hey, playoffs, brand new beginning. I mean, it's highly improbable, but it's not impossible, or at least just give us something to go into the off season, just to say, hey, it's over. It was a ride, we say our goodbyes when we say our goodbyes to it, and we get ready for next season, because it's going to come at us fast. And I mean, this is still our 50-year anniversary, and I would like to take some positive from it. It would feel like a mistake to not still somewhat enjoy our 50th, even though this is just, boy, what a rough one to go on.
I think it should be enjoyable as a fan. Like, Tampa Bay's oldest sports franchise, their first, the first, you should never forget your first. And I think there's magical things. I think like the 75-10 club induction and the like OG night that's coming up. I think everybody should be there. Yep. Celebrate the roots. It's hard in sports, in American sports especially, that having clubs and teams or franchises that are rooted in the community. I mean, like, it's funny, yesterday, Casey and I stopped at a coffee shop before we went to volunteer, and I'm sitting in the car and I look over and there's a giant plaque on a building, and it's about, this building was the office that the Brooklyn Dodgers decided to call up Jackie Robinson and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, the Brooklyn Dodgers used to be such a part of this community. The Giants, the New York Giants baseball club used to be such a part of this community, and they have uprooted and gone. And then, Rays history, the St. Pete almost got the Giants. They would have moved across the country twice. Obviously we didn't. They're still there. But like, community based, and yeah, sure, the Bucks have been consistently there more and for just about the same amount of time. But like, roots are hard to come by, and the Rowdies are American soccer history, and we're a part of that. Like, the Tampa Bay Soccer Hall of Fame is opening, and they're going to have their inductees, and they're doing great stuff to memorialize what soccer has meant to this community. Like, we have a soccer bowl, like an original soccer bowl. We have the 2.0 soccer bowl. Like, there's so much history. Rodney Marsh, like, we should be celebrating that, even if, and you can spin this in a hopeful, optimistic way of like, okay, 50 years, the next chapter is our rebirth. Like, we're coming back. Like, this season, the 50th year might not have been great, but the 51st year is going to be fantastic as we turn another chapter. And, let's write that. It's been, you can do that. There's narratives to be written, and we should, like, I want to lean into that a bit now as this season is coming to a close. Like, enjoy it though. Like, 50 years, you're old as hell. Like, you talk to people that like have been to original Rowdies games.
Full circle. See that? I knew it would be there eventually. I knew Dan would find his way into it. All right, now things feel whole again. Just right up the spine.
But it really, like, I mean, we have, all joking aside, but like, we have Nancy, right? Like, a connection. And if there's anything this off season or the beginning of the season has taught us, it's like, life is fragile, and those connections are fragile, and they can go at any time, like, Lizzie and whatever. So let's celebrate the roots. Let's, those people back into the fold. Let's keep the community alive. Like, those stories, those experiences, everything that's happened is who we are. And, so celebrate that these next coming weeks at Al Lang. And, maybe some magic does happen. We we get into the playoffs and make a fun little run. Anything's possible. But like, at the end of the day, it is soccer. It's just a sport. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy going out with your friends, family, whatever, having a water, a beer, whatever your drink of choice is, and enjoy just the night. Enjoy the experience, enjoy the community, and let's just do this. Like, let's enjoy it. Like, we don't have any expectations anymore, right? Like, we are dead last in the East, maybe I think in the league, like there's no expectations anymore. So just have fun, pin your ears back if you're the Rowdies, just chase goals, whatever. As a fan, let it, just enjoy your friends and enjoy the night and enjoy what the club has to celebrate these 50 years.
Yeah, and to kind of close out this part of it, I would just say I agree. I mean, look, over the lifetime of being a fan of the Rowdies, I have seen highs and lows. I've worked through highs and lows. I mean, it is what it is. Before Neil Collins with lots of lows. And then we got to ride the highs for a long time. Well, now we're back in the low. There's the pendulum's always going to swing to both sides. It just does. And right now, look, okay, not exactly what we want, but we know it's going to swing back the other way. It might take a season or two. It might take just an off season. I don't know. But I know that I am eternally grateful for all the friendships and people that I've met, not just working for the team, but also being a fan of this game. It's how I met Dan. I mean, that's how I met a lot of the guys that I hang and talk with now. I mean, look, this is a rough time as a soccer fan, but as a fan of the club and as somebody who loves the club, this is just part of the experience. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep being loud. I'm going to keep talking about it. And, I mean, we just keep going. And it is what it is. So, and closing that part out, I know what coming up, we've got Phoenix Rising coming in. That'll be obviously the 16th game. Who is the game at? 9?
Yes, it is at 9.
Sweet mother.
I am not
Jesus.
happy about it. I want to go to bed.
Okay, I guess I'm working late that night. I will be working the game. I will be there. I will try to make that scoreboard work. If it doesn't work, blame scoreboard Jesus.
No,
don't blame
your
me.
fault.
I have fixed that thing so many effing times. I got to the point where I was telling one of the staff members to throw soccer balls at it because that's the only thing that could help, because I wasn't coming back over. That's a real thing. That really happened. You can ask Laura. She works there. She's amazing. She does so much that you guys don't know about. Love you, Laura. Also, you shouted out Nancy Batil. I want to shout out Nancy Batil as well because I love Nancy. She is our team. Can we please have a team historian and dub Nancy as team historian? Make that her full-time job. We love Nancy. Nancy's amazing.
I want to nominate Stephen Cundiff for team historian. I think.
No, that referee agreeing asshole gets no credit whatsoever because he would have just said, oh, the referee was doing his job. Shut up, Stephen. Show us your Cundiff, all right? It is 10. Or no, sorry.
It's 9:20.
It is 9:19. Okay, so I have a We Love You for this week. That is going to be Forrest Lasso's 100 matches played. I'm really happy he got to that. We knew he was going to reach it this season. I'm glad he was able to get there. He was able to get his name on the board. And just anyone who hits 100 games, I mean, just that milestone alone is huge. There are some pretty incredible names on that list, and Forrest absolutely deserves to be up there with all of them. So I want to give my We Love You to Forrest Lasso.
I agree. I don't know if there's somebody who embodies the way these last few years have gone as much as Forrest. There's just so many things, positive things you could say about him about his presence on the field. And truly, we give Neil Collins a lot of credit for defining that era, his little era, and the regaining or creating an identity for the Rowdies. And while he did that, I think Forrest Lasso embodied that identity almost more than anybody. His Krispy Kreme videos, he was such a personality off and on the pitch, and still is, but it just defined that stretch of success and what it meant to be a Rowdy more than so many others. And he loved that role. He relished that role. I'll never forget, after, I think it was goal or something, and somebody was on the ground and he just walked over, picked him up, pat him on the butt, and was said a couple words, which usually he's the loudest person on the pitch, but it was a couple little words of encouragement, got him going, and just clapped and got this team back. He was and is the Rowdies way, in my opinion, and The fact that he didn't get this is just now happening because his season was cut short last year is heartbreaking. Right. But like, if there's anybody that like deserves this and embodies resiliency and strength, it's Forrest Lasso.
Yeah, I mean, Forrest, 100% agreed. He embodies all the best parts of an era in Rowdies history. It just, you obviously, Forrest, you've met him. I mean, it just, there are a few guys who, when you look at guys that are just natural born leaders, Forrest Lasso embodies that at every level. He's accountable. He is hardworking. He is humble. He is coachable. And most importantly, he is present. And I say present in the sense that he is, whether he's on the field or not, he is present there and making sure that his presence is in the room, in the discussion, making sure that he is doing his part, that he is doing his part to just pick up the team, pick up the players, pick up whatever he can, be accountable to the team, and give his everything on that field. And I don't know what the future holds for him. I do fear he might not get the goodbye that he deserves, but no matter what the future holds for Forrest Lasso, we have been incredibly fortunate to have a guy like him at this club and at this franchise, and to get 100 games. It's a small thank you that we can give back to him by telling him thank you for everything he's meant to this club. Because he has been, we saw him come in from, what was it, Cincinnati he came over from, I think, right? So. Because they went to MLS and then he came over to us. So we saw him and his wife come over. We saw him get married. We saw him have 2 kids. I mean, we saw all the iterations of Forrest Lasso. I mean, I got to say, Dad Lasso is kind of one of my favorites. It's fun seeing him with the kids. He's such a great father. He's a great husband. I mean, he's a good human. I mean, just to his core, he's a good person. Yeah, again, the we love he goes to him. He's earned it.
Agreed.
All right, man, I got nothing else. I mean, look, I'm going to be there. I will try to stop by and say hey to some people and argue with others. John Silva, I'm going to look for you and argue referees with you. Just kidding, John. I love you, man. It's been really good going back and forth with you, man. Keep it coming, please. You are an absolute pleasure, and I love you, man. Yeah, we will see you guys soon. We will talk next week. Hopefully there's a little bit more positive news.
I don't know anymore.
I know, but I'm going to be optimistic and say positive things are coming. We will continue this train until the wheels fall off, which doesn't feel like there's much more to go. I mean, there's at least a bolt in there, it's a little wobbly as it goes down the road, or sometimes you see that truck that goes like kind of at a weird angle, but it's still going straight.
That's John's driving. I'm sorry. He doesn't listen to the show, so I should make those jokes some more.
That's fair. All right, man. Well, dude, we'll talk soon.
Deuces.
All right, man. Come on, you Rowdies.
The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, they kick the ball around. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, and then they fall on the ground. Oh, the Rowdies, the Rowdies, the Rowdies are kicking the grass. When the Rowdies play soccer, it's a sight to behold. You'll swear there'll be devils with magical toes. You'll laugh, you'll cheer, you'll leap from your seat when they kick with their head instead of their feet. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, they kick the ball around. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, and then they fall on the ground. Oh, the Rowdies, the Rowdies, the Rowdies are kicking the grass. When the Tampa Bay Rowdies take the field, there's a roar. The fans, loyal fannies, cheer the team they adore.